The drums have been at the center of the village for as long as anyone can remember. When the first beat is struck, the spirits listen. With every thundering pulse, they gather to protect the village, guide its people, and give them wisdom. These rhythms are not mere music. They are the language of the ancestors, the connection between the living and the spirits. Each time the drum resonates through the air, it calls to the past, ensuring the future remains protected. But now, everything is changing. Nana Yaw, the village chief, has become restless. He believes the time for tradition has passed. His vision for the village is one where they let go of the old ways and embrace a new path, one that does not rely on the ancient rhythms that have guided the people for centuries. He says that the future is calling, and it cannot wait for the weight of old customs to hold them back. The younger generation is slowly beginning to listen. The village is divided, caught between progress and tradition. Kofi, the village's most gifted drummer, stands at the heart of this conflict. His hands have long been guided by the spirits, his rhythms flowing naturally, deeply, as if passed down directly from the ancestors themselves. When Kofi plays, the weather shifts. When there is a drought, his rhythms bring the rain. When the village is in danger, his beats calm the storms. Kofi has always known that his gift was not just talent, it was a sacred calling. But now, for the first time, doubts cloud his mind. The chief speaks with authority, urging the village to cast aside the old, to stop clinging to the past. He believes the village is ready to move forward, but the drums, he says, are holding them back. We must move beyond these old beliefs, Nana Yaw insists. The world is changing, and so must we. The drums cannot carry us into the future. Pressure from the chief grows heavier, and as the village prepares for the annual harvest festival, Kofi feels torn. He has always been proud of the rhythms, proud of the connection to the ancestors that his drumming brought. But can he stand against the chief, against the tide of change that is sweeping through the village? Amma, Kofi's older sister, is the first to notice the conflict brewing within him. She knows her brother well. She has seen how the rhythms flow from him as naturally as breath. She has always protected the drumming tradition, believing deeply in its power to protect the people and guide their paths. She has witnessed the village thrive under the protection of the spirits, and she knows that silence in the face of this change will bring nothing but ruin. Amma sits with Kofi under the great baobab tree, the sacred tree that has stood in the village for generations, watching as the shadows stretch across the ground. The air is thick with the weight of unspoken words. Amma. You cannot let them silence the drums, Kofi. You know what the drums mean to us. They are not just noise, they are the spirits speaking through us. If we let them fall silent, what will we have left? Kofi. But Amma, the chief says that progress is coming. The world outside is changing. People do not believe in the drums like they used to. What if I'm just holding on to something that no longer works? What if the spirits have abandoned us? Amma. The drums are not just a sound, Kofi. They are the heartbeat of our village. They have always been there to guide us, to protect us. They speak to the spirits, and they bring us their wisdom. The spirits have never abandoned us. They are always here, waiting for us to remember the call. Kofi listens but feels the weight of the world pressing on his shoulders. The village is growing restless. The younger people question whether the drumming should still play such a central role in their lives. Some even begin to whisper that they should modernize, leave the old ways behind, just as the chief has suggested. They believe they will be free to build a better future without the constant connection to the past. Kofi looks around the village, at the faces of the younger people, and wonders if they are right. He sees them growing up in a world that feels distant from the traditions they once held dear. But then, there's Elder Abina, the spiritual guide of the village. She is the keeper of the old stories, the one who remembers the ancient rhythms and the legends of the ancestors. She is the one who has spent her life teaching the village the true meaning of the drumming, passing on the sacred knowledge to those who would listen. And she, too, can feel the tension building in the air. She knows that if the drums fall silent, something far worse than just a loss of tradition will come. Elder Abina approaches Kofi one evening, her steps slow but steady. Her face is lined with age, but her eyes still shine with the fire of wisdom passed down through the generations. Elder Abina, I see the doubt in your heart, Kofi, but remember this. The drums are not just for us. They are for the future. They carry the voices of our ancestors. They connect us to everything. Without them, we lose not just our past, but our future as well. If the rhythm falls silent, the spirits will be angered. And when the spirits are angry, misfortune follows. Kofi, but the chief, he says the world is changing, and we must change with it. How can I stand against him? Elder Abina. The chief is not wrong to seek progress, but he forgets that progress must honor the past. The spirits are with us, always. But when the drums stop, we will be left alone. Without the drums, the connection is lost, and the village will fall into darkness. Kofi's mind begins to whirl with the weight of Elder Abina's words. He cannot deny that something feels off. The air has been thick with tension, the spirits restless. The harvest festival is drawing near, and he must decide: follow the chief's vision for the future, or stay true to the ancient rhythms that have always protected the village. The night before the festival, Kofi sits alone with his drum, looking out at the stars. His hands hover above the surface, feeling the pulse of the earth beneath him. He wonders if the spirits can still hear him, still guide him, or if he has lost the connection forever. He begins to play, slowly at first, the beats tentative, unsure. But as his hands move, the rhythm starts to build, and he feels it. The heartbeat of the village, the sound of his ancestors. The village gathers for the festival, and the drums are ready to speak. But Nana Yaw, the chief, steps forward, his voice strong and unyielding. The drums have always been the heartbeat of the village. They are more than just an instrument. They are a bridge between the living and the spirits. With every beat, the core. Ancestors listen, offering protection, guidance, and blessings. But now, doubt begins to creep into the hearts of those who once believed in the power of the rhythm. For a long time, the sound of the drums called to the spirits, but now the village is divided. Some, like Nana Yaw, believe it is time to move, on to leave behind the old ways and step into the future. They see the drums as a relic of the past, something that holds them back. Others, like Amma, hold tightly to the belief that without the drums, the village will lose its connection to its ancestors. The land will suffer, and the spirits will leave. As the harvest festival approaches, Kofi begins to question the power of the drums. He has always played with confidence, his hands moving effortlessly to summon the spirits. But now, something feels different. His once deep connection to the rhythm seems distant, and the spirits, once so close, no longer respond in the same way. Kofi looks at the drum in his hands, the same drum that has carried the weight of his village's history. But now, as he plays, he wonders, is the power of the drums still real, or are they just an old tradition passed down without meaning? The village is divided, torn between the past and the future. Nana Yaw calls for progress, pushing the younger generation to abandon the old ways and embrace a new world. The elders, led by Amma and Elder Abina, resist, warning of the dangers of leaving behind the sacred practices. The tension between these two sides grows with each passing day. In the midst of the division, Kofi feels the pressure mounting. The village is watching him, expecting him to uphold the drumming tradition. But as the festival draws nearer, Kofi's doubts grow stronger. Can the drums still protect them? Can they still call the spirits to guide them through the difficult times ahead? On the night of the harvest festival, Kofi strikes the drum with all his might, trying to summon the spirits. But instead of the usual calm that follows, the air grows heavy with tension. The wind picks up, howling through the trees. The earth trembles beneath their feet. Something is wrong. The spirits are restless, angry. The villagers feel it, an unease that they cannot shake. Despite the disturbance, Kofi plays on, hoping that the rhythm will settle the unease in the air. But the spirits do not respond as they once did. The once predictable power of the drums is now uncertain. The village is divided, and the land feels unsettled. Then, Nana Yaw makes his decision. He orders that the drums be silenced. He believes that in order for the village to move forward, they must abandon the old ways. The future will not wait for tradition. He tells the people that the drums are no longer necessary, that they are holding the village back. This decision shakes Kofi to his core. His whole life, he has believed that his drumming was not just a skill, but a responsibility to the ancestors. The chief's words challenge everything he has known. The rhythm that has guided the village for generations is now seen as a hindrance. The community must choose. Will they silence the drums or risk angering the spirits? Amma warns Kofi that abandoning the drums will lead to disaster. She recalls a time when the drums were silenced before. Famine struck the village. Disease spread. The spirits left them to face the world alone. She believes that if they stop honoring the ancestors through the rhythm, the village will be cursed. She begs Kofi to defy the chief, to stand up for the traditions that have protected their people. Elder Abena, too, shares a story of the past, of a village that lost everything when it abandoned the drums. She speaks of the anger of the spirits, of the curse that fell upon the land. She warns Kofi that without the drums, the village will fall into ruin. The only way to reverse the curse is to play the sacred rhythm, one that only the elders know. But no one remembers the rhythm, and it seems the knowledge has been lost. Kofi, burdened with this prophecy and the weight of his family's legacy, begins to secretly drum at night. He hopes that by playing, he can remember the lost rhythm, the one that can restore balance between the village and the spirits. But every time he plays, he feels a growing disturbance in the air. The spirits seem restless, their anger rising with each beat. The earth trembles beneath him, as if the very land itself is uneasy. The connection that once felt so certain is now clouded, filled with doubt. Kofi's actions don't go unnoticed. Amma confronts him, fearing that his defiance will only make things worse. She urges him to stop before the spirits grow too angry. She reminds him of their family's duty to protect the traditions. Kofi, torn between his loyalty to his family and the pressure from the chief, feels the weight of his decision bearing down on him. The bond between the siblings begins to strain as they each stand on opposite sides of the divide. The crisis deepens as Kofi struggles with his faith. He feels trapped between two worlds, the world of the ancestors, who call to him through the drums, and the world of Nana Yaw, who believes that moving forward means leaving the past behind. Kofi begins to question whether the drumming tradition is still meaningful, or if it is just a relic of a time long gone. The spirits seem to call to him, but the message is clouded. Is his gift truly a blessing, or has it become a curse? In a final moment of clarity, Kofi makes his decision. He knows he cannot abandon the drums. They are not just a tradition. They are part of who he is. He is the link between the living and the spirits. The drums are his responsibility, his duty. And so, he chooses to play, to continue the tradition in secret if necessary, to restore the balance between the village and the spirits, even if it means defying the chief and his vision for the future. Enough. We will not be bound by these old ways. The drums are a relic of the past, a weight on our future. I will not lead this village into the unknown while clinging to something so outdated. If the drums play, I will not lead the ceremony. The festival will not proceed with the past holding us back. Kofi feels the pressure. He stands at the center of the village, the weight of the drumming tradition heavy in his hands. He knows the spirits are watching, waiting. He knows that if the drums do not play, the village will suffer. The tension builds, and the choice becomes clear. Kofi must decide to play the rhythm of the ancestors and risk angering the chief, or to listen to Nana Yaw and let the drums fall silent. The fate of the village depends on this choice. The drums had long been the pulse of the village, but now in the face of change, the heartbeats of the past were about to be silenced. Despite the warnings of Amma and Elder Abena, Nana Yaw stands firm, declaring that the drums must no longer beat. His voice rings out with authority, signaling the village to abandon its ancient customs. The drums, the connection to their ancestors, are now to be laid to rest as the village steps forward into a modern future. Nana Yaw, we must leave the past behind. The drums no longer serve us. If we are to survive, we must evolve, step into a new era. The time of the old ways is over. Silence the drums. The village gathers for a grand ceremony, but this time, without the sound of the drums. The air is heavy with tension. The people wait, uneasy, as the silence stretches long. The sacred rhythm that once called the spirits has been stilled. There is no call to the ancestors, no blessing from the spirits. Amma, how can they not hear it, Kofi? The silence. It is as if the earth itself is holding its breath. Without the drums, we are alone. Kofi feels the absence like a hollow ache in his chest. The silence is deafening. His hands tremble, unsure of their purpose without the drum. The village, once filled with the rhythms of life, now feels empty. As the silence deepens, an unnatural stillness falls over the land. The wind stirs with an unsettling chill. The sky darkens, heavy with the weight of unspoken words. The earth trembles beneath their feet, and the spirits begin to stir. The villagers look around in fear. The spirits, once so calm and protective, now grow restless. Their anger rises in the wind, and their voices echo like howls across the village. The connection to the ancestors that had once been so strong now feels frayed and distant. The land seems to recoil, as if offended by the silence of the drums. The village begins to feel the shift. Crops that had once flourished in abundance begin to wither. The animals fall ill, weak and lifeless. The earth refuses to yield, rejecting the villagers' labor. The sky above, once clear and bright, grows dim. Amma, urgently. Look at what has happened. The spirits are angry. We have silenced them, and now they have turned their backs on us. The village, it is crumbling. We cannot abandon the drums. Kofi's heart aches as he watches the land suffer. The once thriving community now faces its darkest hour. Panic spreads through the village like wildfire as the people realize the weight of their mistake. Kofi, quietly to himself. What have we done? The drums, they were never just sound. They were life. We called upon the spirits with every beat. Without them, we are lost. Elder Abina's voice echoes in Kofi's mind, the memory of her words cutting through the fear that grips him. Elder Abina, echoing in his memory. If the drums fall silent, so too will the life of the village. Kofi knows that the only way to restore balance is to reclaim the rhythm. The drums must beat again, or the village will be lost forever. Kofi, to Amma. We cannot let this continue. I must play. I must call the spirits back. The lost rhythm. I must remember it. Amma nods, her face filled with both fear and hope. Together, they gather the remaining drummers, preparing to take a dangerous step. They meet under the cover of night, where the village sleeps unaware of the path they are about to walk. Amma, we risk everything. If they find us, if Nana Yaw finds out, the wrath of the chief will be upon us. But we have no choice. The drums must play. The spirits must return. Kofi takes a deep breath, his hands steadying over the drum. The sound of the lost rhythm feels distant, like a memory just beyond his reach. But he knows that it is still there, buried deep within. The drummers begin to play, each beat reverberating through the night air. Slowly, the rhythm returns, faint but growing stronger with every strike. The spirits stir. The air crackles with energy. The earth vibrates beneath them, responding to the rhythm. The wind picks up, and the sky above begins to rumble. Kofi plays with all his might, calling the spirits back into the village. Kofi, with determination, hear us, ancestors. We have called you with the rhythm of our people. Return to us, restore our land, and heal what we have broken. The drums grow louder, their sound filling the night. The ground shakes, and the wind howls. The spirits answer Kofi's call with a deafening roar. Lightning flashes across the sky as the storm begins to rise. The storm is not one of destruction, but of cleansing. It sweeps through the village with fierce winds, washing away the fear and the mistakes of the past. The rain falls heavy, nourishing the land. The earth, once parched, drinks deeply, and the crops begin to heal. The villagers wake to the storm's roar. The air is thick with power, and they realize what has happened. The spirits have returned. The drums have called them back, and the land is alive once more. Amma. The storm. It is not a punishment. It is a cleansing. We have been reborn, as Tairada. The storm clears. A radiant light appears on the horizon, shining brightly like a beacon. The spirits have forgiven them. The village feels the weight lift, the burden of their disobedience lifted with the storm. The villagers kneel before the light, offering their gratitude. The spirits have returned, and they have been forgiven. But the spirits have one demand. The drums must never fall silent again. The rhythms must be honored, and the connection to the ancestors must remain strong. Nana Yaw, humbled and repentant. I see now. The drums are not just an old tradition, they are the life of the village. I have been blind to the power they hold. I was wrong to silence them. From this day forward, I vow to protect our traditions. The drums will never again fall silent. The village is reborn, and the rhythm of life pulses once more. The people rise, united in their promise to honor the spirits through the sound of the drums. They have learned the lesson of balance, that progress must honor the past, and the past must guide the future. The drums beat once more, calling the spirits and guiding the village toward a new dawn. The day after the storm, the village stirs from its deep slumber, the air thick with anticipation. The earth has been washed clean, and as the first rays of the sun stretch across the horizon, the village witnesses a miracle. The crops, which had withered under the weight of despair, begin to sprout, their green shoots piercing the earth as if the land itself has come back to life. The once sickly animals that could barely stand now trot with vigor, their bodies healthy. Once more, the villagers, filled with awe, step outside their homes, their eyes wide in disbelief. The spirits have heard their prayers and have responded in kind, Amma whispering in reverence. The spirits have answered us, Kofi. Look at the earth, look at the sky. The land is reborn. Kofi, looking at the flourishing crops. It is as if the very heart of the village has been restored. The spirits have returned to guide us. We have been given another chance. The villagers gather, murmuring in awe, as they feel a deep peace settle over the land. The once oppressive weight of fear has lifted, and the rhythm of life has returned to the village. Nana Yaw watches the transformation with a heavy heart. His eyes scan the village, lush, green, and alive. The realization of what nearly happened weighs on him. The silence, the severing of ties with tradition, had almost brought them to ruin. Nana Yaw, speaking to the gathered villagers. I see now, I see the error of my ways. The drums are not simply sounds that echo through the air. They are the voice of our ancestors, the heartbeat of this village. I was wrong to silence them. I see now that without the drums, we are nothing. We cannot exist without the wisdom of those who came before us. I ask for your forgiveness. I was blinded by the promise of progress. But now I know the drums must never fall silent again. We must walk forward, but we must always remember where we come from. The past must be honored if we are to have a future. Kofi and Amma stand before the villagers, their hearts filled with humility. They have been hailed as heroes, praised for restoring the rhythm that saved their people. But neither of them seeks glory. They know the true power lies not in the drumming itself, but in honoring the wisdom of their ancestors. Kofi, quietly, with humility. We did not act for praise. The rhythm is not ours to keep. It is a gift from our ancestors, a gift that must be passed on. We played the drums because we had to. Not for ourselves, but for the village, for the spirits that watch over us. Amma, gently. We do not seek honor for ourselves. The true power lies in the connection we share with the past. It is not the drumming, but the respect for tradition, the respect for our ancestors, that will guide us forward. We are nothing without the spirits. The villagers listen intently, nodding in agreement. The message is clear. Humility and respect for the past are the keys to their survival. Nana Yaw, having heard Kofi and Amma's words, approaches them with a new resolve. He knows that the future of the village lies in teaching the younger generation the wisdom of the past. Without the drums, without the knowledge passed down through the generations, the village cannot thrive. Nana Yaw, addressing Kofi and Amma, I see now that the future is in your hands. I ask you to help guide the young ones, to teach them the sacred rhythms. Without understanding the power of the drums, the village will be lost. We cannot let the wisdom of the past fade away. Will you help me ensure that the drums will never again fall silent? Kofi, nodding. We will. We will teach them the rhythms, and we will pass on the knowledge that has been entrusted to us. The drums will continue to call the spirits, and the village will be guided by their wisdom. Amma. The younger generation must learn. They must understand the rhythm, the heartbeat that sustains us. We must honor our past while moving into the future. The village begins to change, and with it, the people. The old ways and the new are not enemies. They are partners. The village moves forward with both progress and tradition in harmony. Nana Yaw leads the charge, advocating for the growth of the village, but always remembering the rhythms of the past that sustain them. In the evening, the drumming circles are revived. Kofi and Amma lead the youth, teaching them the lost rhythms. The beats grow louder, and the air grows thick with energy. The village is alive once more, its people united in both the wisdom of the past and the promise of the future. Kofi, drumming with the youth. Feel the rhythm, let it guide you. The spirits are always listening, always present. The drums are not just sound, they are a connection. We are not just playing music. We are calling the spirits to guide us, Amma. This is the balance. The drums remind us of who we are. Without them, we would be lost. But with them, we are strong, stronger than the storms that threaten to tear us apart. Kofi takes his drum in hand once more, and the rhythm flows through him like a river. The sound calls to the spirits, reminding the villagers that they are never alone. Every beat is a prayer, a connection to the ancestors who have walked before them. As the drum beats fill the village, the people feel the presence of the spirits, watching over them, guiding them, and ensuring that the village will continue to thrive. Kofi, with reverence. The spirits hear us. They always have. With every beat, we are reminded that they are watching over us. This rhythm is not just sound, it is life. It is a connection that cannot be broken. Amma. Every beat is a prayer. Every rhythm is a call to the spirits. We are never truly alone. The past, the present, and the future all are connected in the sound of the drums. The village learns a powerful lesson that day. Progress must honor the past, for it is the past that guides the present and shapes the future. Through Kofi, Amma, and Elder Abina, the people come to understand that their identity is rooted in their traditions, and they must never forget the importance of their history. Elder Abina. The drums will never fall silent again. We will teach the children, the youth, the future of our people, that the rhythm of the past is the pulse of the future. The spirits will always guide us, as long as we remember who we are. The villagers dance to the rhythm of the drums, their hearts full, knowing that they are part of a long line of ancestors who will continue to guide them. The drums beat strong, and the cycle of life continues, unbroken.